We're ready to begin now. Okay, thank you and welcome everyone. It is great to have you all on board. My name is Rick Bauer. I'm a board certified chaplain at the George Washington University and I teach in the School of Medicine. I'm a member of the IAHPC and work with Catherine on the Interfaith Palliative Care Advocacy Network. Um, the IAHPC is a global membership organization with almost 1,300 members and 128 countries, which you can explore on an interactive map on our great website, which has lots of resources. Our vision is a world free from serious health-related suffering, and our mission is to serve as a global platform to inspire, inform, empower, individuals, governments, and organizations to increase access to and optimize the practice of palliative care. We're in official relations with the World Health Organizations and in a consultative status with the UN Economic and Social Council, where we advocate for a global normative framework for palliative care. Oops, sorry. We formed the Interfaith Palliative Care Advocacy Network last year to learn how faith traditions all over the world can care for their seriously ill and dying, and to encourage faith leaders and advocate for the inclusion of palliative care in their communities and health systems generally. Our vision, which is still being finalized by a review committee, is a world where people facing serious illness and all caregivers can access the compassionate spiritual support they need to face loss and grief. Our mission, also under review, is to mobilize the shared ethical and spiritual riches of the world's faith traditions to promote holistic care for people facing serious illness, to accompany the dying, to support families and caregivers, and universal access to holistic palliative care. Today is the third webinar in our Faith and Palliative Care series. The first presented Roman Catholic, Buddhist, Muslim, and Sikh perspectives on the 2026 World Day of the Sick. The second webinar brought together Jewish, evangelical, and Hindu perspectives on the World Day of Peace. The IAHPC founded the Interfaith Palliative Care Network to synergize constructive collaboration between palliative care practitioners, faith communities, and religious leaders to bring palliative care services to the 85% of the world's people who still lack these services. This year, the UN theme for the World Day is Indigenous Midwives. And so our webinar today focuses on midwifing our final passing. And we are so honored to hear from three knowledge holders from the First Nations territories of modern day Canada, East Africa, and Nagaland in the northern India. Today, you will hear from Rosella Kinoshameg, Sagaya Yaha Hills, and Obanjungla. Our moderator, Dr. Leonie Herx, will introduce each of them as they take the floor, and we'll try to put their full bios in the chat. I ask you to please use the question and answer function at the bottom of your page to put in those questions. Our moderator today is Dr. Leonie Herx. She's professor of palliative medicine at the University of Calgary, palliative medicine consultant physician, and senior scientific director of the Covenant Health Palliative Care Institute. a section chief of pediatric palliative medicine at the Alberta Health Services Calgary Zone, and the director of the Rotary Flames House Children's Hospice and Palliative Care Program. So I will stop sharing and welcome Leonie.
Welcome, everybody. It's an honor to be here today and learn alongside all of you from our three esteemed knowledge holders in celebration of palliative care and traditional practices. I'm going to start by introducing our three speakers, and then we'll move into an opening prayer following that. And the format for the day will be each of our three speakers will give a presentation followed by a question and answer period. And we invite all of you to submit your questions into the Q&A, as Rick has said. So first, I would like to introduce Rosella Kinoshamag. Rosella is a retired community health nurse and Anishinaabe of Odawa and Ojibwe ancestry from Wikwemikong unceded territory on Manitoulin Island, Ontario, Canada. Through caring for family and community members facing serious illness, dying, grief, and loss, Rosella has gained deep wisdom and experience in Indigenous approaches to caring, accompaniment, and community support, and in particular, palliative caring. So we're excited to have you here, Rosella. Dr. Sakaya Yahaya Hills is a dental surgeon, traditional healer, public health specialist with a PhD in traditional medicine. He is the director of Promitra Uganda and founder of the Dr. Sakaya Institute of Traditional Medicine. He bridges Western and traditional medicines in the context of public health and palliative care in East Africa. Dr. Sakaya has worked closely with Hospice Africa in Uganda. And our third presenter is Dr. Obang Jungla, who is a member of the Naga tribe from Nagaland in Northeast India. She's a retired government chief medical officer who founded Serene Palliative Care, a charitable community home-based palliative care group in March 2025. So welcome everyone. We're so thrilled to have you here and to learn from you. I'll now hand it over to Rosella to do our opening prayer.
Bonjour, bonjour. Rosella Ndishnikas, Nandoekwe Ndishnikango, Odawa, Ojibwe, Nindao. Bene Shindo Dem, Wikwem Kong Donjaba, Anamada. So I just gave you my name, the spirit name that was given to me, and I'm Odawa, Ojibwe. Bird is my clan, and I'm from Wikwemikong, as Leonie mentioned. So let's begin with a prayer. Gijemnedo, Deben Myang, O Great Spirit, we give thanks for everything that you have made and have given to us. We give thanks for Manda Gijagak Nunga today. We give thanks for giving us Bimatsuwin, our life. We give thanks for Noden, air. Wina saying, the breath of life. We give thanks for Nibe, the water, for cleansing and refreshment. We give thanks for gifts of the directions, Wabnung, Shawnung, Ebigishmok, Giwednung, as the east, south, west, and north. We give thanks for the gift of the sun, Jesus, who guides and gives us light through the day to see our way and gives us warmth. We give thanks for the Jesus, the moon, who lights our path in the night. We give thanks for Shkakamikwe, Mother Earth. Min going Wamijang, Minoa Shkike. Thanks for the plants that give us food, the plants for food, and for the medicines that we use. We give thanks from Tigok, the trees that give us shelter, protection, and comfort to our lives. We give thanks for Wesiak, the animals, for their good providers, and for their teachings. We give thanks for Chitwa Kinomage Winan, the teachings. We not maging to help guide us on our journey, and Sagishagak every day. We give thanks for Minguezwenan are gifts to help others. Miigwech, we say to the Creator for Moamwe Yibijang to bring us together for this gathering to learn and to share. Buksen Migo Wit Semyang, Winondo we begin the Moyang Jawenj Gewin. We Nakiang, we Jamina Nadmadiang. Be with us, hear us, help us to work well and to help one another. Give us your grace. Kinagego, for all these and more, we say, Miigwech, 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 Miigwech.
Miigwech. Thank you, Rosella. Beautiful. Okay, we'll hand it over to you again, Rosella, for your presentation.
Okay, let's begin. That's just the introductory slide. We'll go to the second slide. Next. Our community was very highly structured. No signals, no communication, but the most complex social action happened. If somebody died, everyone did something. Everything was set up. And the question was, who organized it? Next. No, go back to the last one. I'm sorry. Prior to colonization, part of our culture was to look after our own from birth to death. The process involved immediate and extended family, friends, and community. But due to colonization and residential schools, they contributed to our many losses of our land, language, and beliefs. They were all discouraged and forbidden with goal of assimilation. Our culture was repressed. Identity was changed. Names changed to numbers. Now there is a great movement to relearn our language, culture, practices, and ceremonies. Our philosophy of traditional medicine on well-being of body, mind, and spirit is a way of life based on love, respect, and belief in the Creator, viewing all aspects of life holistically, physically, mentally, socially, emotionally, spiritually. Life is sacred, a gift from the Creator, and we are a threefold being, body, mind, and spirit. Life is a circle, a journey, all about balance. And as one said, we are spirit beings having a human experience. To guide our earth walk, we have been given the greatest gifts for our healing process, the medicine wheel teachings and the 7 sacred gifts, to help prepare and be ready each and every day. Even Pope Francis wrote, "The whole journey of life is a journey of preparation." Death is the final stage of life and is an important part of completing the circle and fulfillment of our purpose. It is the return to the spirit world and to the Creator, place of understanding, wisdom, and place of everlasting joy. The important ceremonies are to let go, to release responsibilities, and a bundle to assist the 4-day journey. There's drumming, songs, and prayers, and other ceremonies. Our family does the cedar bath to cleanse and prepare the body to move into the spirit world. If you move to the next slide. The family does the cedar bath to cleanse and prepare the body to move into the spirit world, and they have cedar tea to drink for people who are grieving. Dressing the body, befitting work done on the earth walk, and to show who and she was. There's moccasins with holes in the heel. There's a sacred fire, tobacco offering. And we have a purification ceremony, or smudging they call it, to create sacred space, a feast, a spirit plate offering, memorial feast to 10 days and at 1 year, Today, we have services with the combination of our traditional practices and the church services at wakes and at our funerals. Next slide. The hospice palliative care, as we know it today, was not originally funded in our work as nurses in the community, and there was no hospice, but we still took care of the sick and the dying, and now we have all these services in the community and in the hospitals. Hospice palliative care are strange and unfamiliar words, so we speak about journey to the spirit world, going home, sunrise and sunset, and we say, we will see you later, and we never say goodbye. People feared hospitalization, dying alone and not returning to their own community. Now people want culturally sensitive and safe care. They want to die in their own home, have control, be surrounded by family, friends, and community. Use our language, ceremonies, and prayers. Next slide. The TRC, calls to action, especially number 22, 23, 48, and 60, are important in recognizing the value of Indigenous healing practices, respecting the right to practice, develop, and teach own spirituality and religious traditions, customs, and ceremonies, and cultural competency training for health professionals. For the church and other faiths would have a curriculum on the need to respect Indigenous spirituality. Next slide. The insights of Virtual Hospice Elders and Knowledge Carriers Circle were key to creating Indigenous-led and culturally informed resources and education on grief. So the first one you see is Coming Full Circle, which is planning for your own care. And the next two, but there's 4 altogether, Supporting Healthy Ways of Living Through Grief and Loss, Guides for First Nations People, Métis, Inuit, Health and Social Care Providers, and with the focus on spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical well-being. So in conclusion, I don't have a slide for this one, life should end as beautiful and naturally as coming into the world. We are giving birth, and the pain and the grieving experienced is the labor of giving birth into the spirit world. We do in our language a send-off prayer, and in the Great Spirit prayer, the last sentence is, make me ever ready to come to you with clean hands and straight eyes, so when life fades as the fading sunset, my spirit may come to you without shame. Miigwech.
Miigwech. Thank you, Rosella. That was beautiful. Next, we'll have Dr. Sakaya join us to share his experiences in East Africa.
Okay. Yes. Hello, everybody. Good day, everybody, wherever you are. I don't know if I'm audible. I request to share my slides. Should I share or somebody else shares?
We can share them. Catherine,
Are we sharing?
Catherine, are you able to pull them up? Go ahead, Dr. Sakaya, I think. Oh, no, there we go.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, we are really looking now from Africa how palliative care is in our traditional practices. Next slide. Why does this matter? Bridging, putting traditional palliative care in our traditional medicine or traditional practices really integrates palliative care in African traditional healthcare practices. This will enhance dignity, trust, and outcomes. Currently, palliative care in its way of operation might compromise dignity, trust, and outcomes. Next slide. When we look at palliative care in our traditional practices, for us in Africa, when palliative care needs come by and we are admitting a patient, we look at, we begin with the end in mind. In order to avoid complicated bereavements, which occur when a person dies, when everybody was not ready for that death. So to avoid that, we assess communication preferences at the intake, meaning how should bad or good news be communicated? And the preference might vary depending on the status of the individual within the community. To some people, the communication should be done within the immediate families. To others, it should be done through the cultural leaders or community of people with authority. To others, it should be done at the level of the individual. The individual should receive the information. So that is always taken at the beginning before things get any worse. So how should access be communicated? And this one values the cultural sensitivity of the matter, because if somebody was a cultural leader, the cultural sensitivity is higher than just a family member. Also, the places of birth becomes to be at stake. Where would one want to die from? Many in African setting, some might prefer to die in the hospital, others might prefer to die at home, others might prefer to die at the ancestral ground where they will be buried. So that one is also taken care of at the very beginning. This helps to really address any deep family distress that could occur if somebody dies and these things are not addressed. Now comes the spiritual diagnosis and meaningful ritual prescriptions during the concurrent treatment. Here, we are aware in African setting, we have concurrent treatment. There is spiritual treatment, there is cultural treatment, and hospital-based treatments. All these occur almost at the same time, but at times in hiding. So at the beginning, we really clarify that if somebody has a strong clan identity, we need to know about the spiritual diagnosis and meaningful ritual prescriptions, how they will be done. And this is important to strengthen the lineage, for the continuity of the lineage. Then ancestral obligations, and also to access non-pharmacological measures. Because as we know, during palliative care, we have many non-pharmacological measures that are obligatory, especially relating to ancestral obligations. In advanced cases of illness, the palliative needs, we really, at the advanced stages of illness, there are issues that we might look at that shouldn't be underlooked, like misread priorities. If somebody was spiritually at a higher level, opportunities can come that might be misread by the clinical approaches only. Also, overlooked caregivers. To some people, the presence of a spiritualist nearby might address many other issues that are spiritual. Yet, possibly, if somebody is under intensive care or otherwise, such people are told to go away. So, in this case, it is important to assess how those opportunities will be addressed so as to really take advantage of coordinated care at the dying moment and also at the death, post-death and long-term rituals. These are important. There are many rituals we do in order to promote the proper ancestralization, which shouldn't be ignored in any way. Next slide. So we prefer the three-way referral. Traditional healers refer to themselves for better care. Traditional healers also refer to biomedical for red flag whenever there are red flags. But now the problem comes where medical doctors do not refer patients to traditional healers, which for any other cultural or spiritual concerns. This raises other concerns such that it causes delay, concealment, and mistrust. If that referral system, the three-way referral system, should be somehow officiated such that concealment, mistrust, and delays are addressed. Last slide. So it is in this regard that we are saying formal integration of palliative care in traditional practices is important to uphold dignity, trust, and betterment, better outcomes. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sakaya. Wonderful. Look forward to our question and answer with you in a few minutes. Now we'll hear from Dr. Obang.
Yes. Kindly show my slide.
It just takes a minute to pull it up. 1 second.
Okay. Kindly take me to the first slide. Yes. Well, greetings to all. Thank you, IAHPC, for giving me this wonderful opportunity. Nagaland is a state in the... I am Dr. Obang Chungla from Northeast India, Nagaland. I am the founder of the Syrian Palliative Care. Nagaland is a state in Northeast India with a population of 2.3 million. We have 17 tribes with more than 25 dialects. Our official language is English. We have a strong indigenous tradition of healing practices passed down from the ancestors. It encompasses physical, mental, spiritual, and socio-economic. I would like to touch upon three important aspects and traditional practices. Next slide. First is compassionate community care. We have deeply rooted ancestral tradition of caring for the sick by the family members, clans, and community. Community and kinship networks recognizes the importance of health and well-being. Practical care and support extended to sick individual and family members by contributing food, rice, vegetable, fetch water, carry firewood, assist in household chores and agricultural work. Support physically, emotionally, and spiritually throughout the period of illness. Community participation in mourning, and bereavement periods reflects solidarity and compassion. Next slide. Second is indigenous traditional remedies. Indigenous traditional remedies have long been used as an integral part of community health care. Leaves, barks, roots, fruits from medicinal plants prepare for remedies in the form of paste, decoction, and poultice. These remedies are used in various ailments like pain, fever, headache, inflammation, gastrointestinal problem, and wounds. Banana leaves used for severe skin infection provides soothing and cooling effect and to relieve from discomfort. Fermented rice water regarded as a nourishing traditional tonic or elixir to gain strength and for recovery. Bone setters for fractured bones. Next slide, please. Some of the pictures with the fermented rice water. Next slide, please. And the third is spiritual cleansing and healing rituals. Spiritual cleansing and healing rituals have traditionally been an important aspect of indigenous healthcare practices. Strong belief in the influence of benevolent and malevolent spirits on illness, health, well-being, sacrificial offerings of fowls, pigs, eggs, symbolic items accompanied by prayers and chanting, with the belief that supernatural intervention can bring healing and protection. Offerings also regarded as symbolic substitute on behalf of the sick person for divine spiritual favor and intervention. Rituals are performed in order to restore health, harmony, balance, specify spiritual forces believed to be associated with illness. Next slide, please. Present scenario of traditional practice, modern conventional medicine is now the primary and most preferred form of healthcare. Small proportion of the population rely on traditional healing practices, especially in the rural and indigenous community. Some people combine modern and traditional healthcare practices. Above all, traditional knowledge and practices remain culturally significant and preserve community heritage. Next slide, please. Pictures from Palliative Care Initiative, introducing the importance of palliative care to the church community. Next slide. Introduction and training of palliative care to the nurses. Next slide. Same, some training programs for the nurses. Next slide. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dr. Obang. So much rich information for us to learn from, and looking forward now to having a discussion together and digging a little more into each of your wisdom traditions. The first question I have is actually for Rosella. So I'd actually invite each of the panelists to please turn your cameras on, and well, I'll have some questions for each of you specifically. If there's one that you want to respond to as well, please please feel free to do so. Just let me know. So Rosella, the first question I have for you is, drawing on your experience as a community health nurse, now retired, and member of your Anishinaabe community, what traditional teachings or practices help individuals, families, and communities care for one another during serious illness, dying, grief, and bereavement?
Okay, that's a long question, but I know our people, I guess the most important one is the spiritual care that's involved in caring for somebody who's dying. And, that means prayers and having somebody, either a traditional healer that may come to do prayers and ceremonies, or the clergy who may come and offer prayers. And then the help from the community. I know there's great help in the community. People come, they come all day, all night, and they come to pray, they sing, they offer to help in the house, with household chores. They bring food, because I know when my brother was dying, he couldn't stand the smell of food. And so people would bring the food so the family didn't have to cook in the home. So I think that was a good part of looking after the dying in the family, is bringing food and helping with household chores and all that, and including the children. That's important. And because I know that the children often said, "What about us?" And so you have to include them in, and I know you don't have the younger ones, you don't have to tell them like what's happening. You don't have to tell them about dying. A good example I might have is when my own father died and my daughter was only 3 years old. I wondered, how do you tell a 3-year-old about their grandfather dying? What is death? And so I brought a chair and I put it in front of the casket, and she got up there and she looked at him, was silent, and then she says, "Now he can walk." Jumped off the chair and went out to play. So children are that close to the Creator that they know what's happening. And my father had a leg amputated, and so that's why she said, "Now he can walk." So so making sure that the children are included is a very important part of our tradition. I don't know if that answers your question fully.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Thanks, Rosella. Um, there's a question related to the importance of spiritual care in the chat that I'm going to ask of each of you. And one of our participants is asking, is spiritual care officially integrated into palliative care settings in each of your countries? So I'll start with Dr. Sakaya.
Just to be clear, you are asking whether spiritual care is officially integrated in palliative care.
That's right. Yeah.
In our
Yeah.
countries.
Yeah.
I can't say with certainty, but in practice, yes, spiritual care is integrated in palliative care practices. But I don't know if it is done legally or otherwise.
Thank you. And Obang?
Yeah, we also integrate the spiritual care in the palliative care. And there is no legal documents as such that spiritual care should be integrated, but palliative care as such, we include the emotional, the physical, and then the spiritual aspect of the whole person.
Thank you, Obang. And Rosella?
Yes, I think that's we include that. It's integrated now because we, in our belief, we look at the body, mind, and spirit, physical, mental, spiritual, emotional well-being. And so as part of our belief, spiritual care is very important. And we include it anyways, I don't know. And I think that's why we look at those TRC, the calls to action, where we're requesting that you respect our traditions, so that when we go end up in the hospital, they know that they have to respect what we believe and, make sure that those are in place, that when we ask for someone to come in, that they are allowed to come in. So, and it's the same thing at home, that there people are welcome to come and, and offer their spiritual help in whatever way they can.
Wonderful. Thanks, Rosella. Dr. Sakai, I have a question for you. What would be a better link between traditional healers and biomedical doctors in palliative care? In your expertise as both an allopathic doctor and traditional healer, I think you give us a unique perspective on this.
Thank you very much. The best link between traditional and modern healthcare during palliative care is quite tricky, because you cannot link the practices before you link their theories and their philosophies. Western medicine and traditional medicine have completely different philosophies of care, and they address different aspects. So one of the best way to think is each system of healthcare to be patient and accommodate the other system of healthcare. Western medicine is good in the physical illnesses and also diseases of biological cause. But traditional approaches are good for non-biological diseases, diseases of spiritual, cultural origin, things to do with the curse, things to do with the soul, things to do with the spirits, which are not part of the biomedical system. And they don't take them as important. Yet for patients under palliative care, those really come out to be very significant. So to me, the best way would be for each of the system to be able to accommodate the other system that it doesn't understand, but not to close it out.
Thanks, Dr. Sakaya. And do you have any good examples from your practice of how this can best be accomplished?
Yes, the best examples are our hospice in Uganda. Hospice and palliative care in Uganda, Palliative Care Association of Uganda, and hospice in Uganda, they have really incorporated that because they have done special trainings to nurses and palliative care nurses, palliative care doctors. They have done trainings about traditional approaches. And I remember one time they came to my forest school and had an interaction with the traditional healers. So palliative care professionals interacted with the traditional healers, and they had a very good interaction, which later improved the referrals of traditional healers referring patients to hospitals for palliative care, and also cases where other healers other people could accommodate healers and healers' view in their hospitals. So palliative care in Uganda, Palliative Care Association in Uganda, and hospice have done good examples, and they are really good examples themselves of integrating both or accommodating the other ways of thinking, since we are all caring for the same patient in similar communities.
Wonderful. Thank you, Dr. Sakaya. Dr. Obang,
Yes.
how in your home-based palliative care services does the community respond to caring for the ill and dying, and how does the integration of traditional practices come into play with conventional medicine?
We do respect the traditional medicines, and also we go along side by side with the conventional medicines. So we respect the way how the traditional healers providing the care, as well as from our end, from the conventional side, we do our things which is in whichever way possible.
Thank you. We have a related question from Dr. Sakura. Religious traditional practices provide a great shield in suffering, crisis, death, loss, and grief. However, many palliative care practitioners diminish its value by imposing statements like religious is not spiritual, and so confusing the two, while they may promote certain religious practices as purely spiritual or indigenous. How do we ascertain and also provide a multicultural, multi-religious palliative care while without separating religious tradition from spiritual well-being? So I'm curious if you have any thoughts on that, Dr. Obang.
Just
You have
repeat the
addressed it
question
to who?
once.
Pardon?
You have addressed the question to who?
It was Dr. Obang, but if you'd like to jump in, Dr. Sakaya, please do.
Yes. If I understood well, there is a lot of religious, faith-based aspects in it, indigenous spirituality in that question, and non-indigenous spiritualities.
Right. Yeah.
My view is that spirituality isn't the same as religion. So if we take spirituality in the context of religions, I feel we shall have lost the point. First, faith-based healing is different from spiritual healing.
And how do you approach
Because
the two, yeah, in your communities?
you see, spirituality is spirituality, but religion is a format, a packaging of spirituality. So spirituality can be packaged in a Christian packaging, Islamic way of understanding. That doesn't replace spirituality. Spirituality stays spirituality. So the spirituality is not contained or limited to the way it is packaged. So to me, religious ways of packaging spirituality conform to certain particular packaging formats, and it obeys those laws of that religion. The spirituality I practice is above religions, so it is not within a format of packaging. You can contain your package of spirituality, but if I insert a prayer through my indigenous ways, whichever way you package it yours, my prayer will work. So to me, restricting ourselves to religions, to me, I wouldn't go by that. I would go by opening up to any form of prayer, provided it's towards a healing process. To me, it's fine. Whether you're a Muslim, a Christian, a Buddhist, a prayer is a prayer, and it is towards the good health of the patient we are looking at. So to me, I wouldn't be bothered much about whether which religion, provided it is a prayer. I'll go by it. Thank you.
Thank you. And as a follow-up question, how would you introduce spiritual well-being without any faith-based practice, especially for Indigenous people where their faith helps similarly, whether they're a Christian or a different faith background? It's a question from Dr. Sakura in the chat. Rosella, do you have any thoughts on that?
May I go ahead?
Go ahead.
Yes. When you are plucking, you are taking in the patient. One of the first things I consider is what religion somebody is. And I have to respect that faith within the context of that patient. Mine is not to change his faith, no, but also for him to understand that whichever faith it is, a prayer is a prayer and it is towards God. And it is God who is responsible for our healing. So I don't antagonize what he believes in. In any case, I promote what he believes in and continue with my work. And at the end of it, it is the results that show the difference. If I used my ritual and there is an improvement, yes, the patient will feel it and appreciate it. So I don't antagonize a patient's faith, neither is it my role to determine his faith, but I continue with my spiritual approach. But in any case, I get his consent, whether I can intervene, and also whether he was brought to me first or he's aware of what I believe in also.
Great, thank you.
Mm.
Dr. Obang, do you provide
Yes.
any supports for children in your community programs? Children who themselves may be dying or children related to the person you're caring for, and how do you support them?
I do care for the children, but not in a big number as what I look for the adult patients.
Are there any specific approaches that you use to bring in traditional healing practices when supporting children compared to adults?
Depends upon the type of difficulty, the sickness that they are going through. And if the conventional medications is the need, then make them understand the which will be better, whether the traditional or the conventional. And that way we come to a point in understanding and taking care of the patients. And then the patient also doesn't object to what we offered them the treatment for the best care, for the best.
Thank you. Rosella, do you have any particular ways that you integrate care for children into your community practices?
I was thinking about that as they were speaking. We believe that each one of us, each child is a gift from the Creator. And when it's their time to die, the Creator is calling them back home, no matter at what age, if they be small or older or whatever, and so we work with the parents to make that understood that this child is a gift, and we do our best to look after this child in this life. But when they get sick and they're dying, then we say the Creator is calling them back. So they have to accept that, that they've done their best, and the Creator is calling them home. So it's not I guess a real sad time. It's like a happy time because they're going back to the Creator. That's what we believe.
Mm-hmm.
And we believe that there's only one Creator. No matter which way we pray, if we use our traditional ways, if we chant or we use the drum, it's all part of the way we express our prayer to the Creator.
Thank you. And in my experience caring for children, they have a real openness to relationship with the Creator and to spirituality in perhaps ways that they haven't experienced kind of cultural norms or suppression around that particular aspect of who they are. And so I find there's a lot more openness to speaking about what happens after you die, or an experience of the ancestors in children than in some adults. So I'm curious how, in general, how do you bring in the ancestors into care of the dying, whether it's children or adults, in each of your practices? So maybe I'll start with Dr. Sakaya.
Thank you very much. Now, for me, the experience I have with children is not much, but the little experience I have with children, when they need palliative care, it's not more the children, but their parents and relatives. They become to me more of the patients than the patient themselves. They become more of the people to talk about, and to convince about the path. So there we go into interpreting what actually the sickness might mean, the meaning of the sickness. And not mainly the meaning of the sickness to the patient, but to the relatives, especially if the child had marks of ancestral possession or had markings of connectivity to ancestry. And what does this mean to that? So you are more attached to convincing the patients, not to the relatives of the patient, of the child, than the child. So I mainly spend more time talking to the parents, to understand the meaning and also to accept. Otherwise, the bereavement process of the parents is not solved after the death of the child. So you go into now talking to them about the meaning of the sickness, such that you can shorten the bereavement period after death.
Thank you. And Obang, I'm curious, how do you bring ancestors into the care of the dying?
I haven't come across as such with the children in this regard, so I don't have much experience with the children.
Or with any of your patients and community members?
For the adults, yes, they have the connection with the ancestors, and also they think they feel that they are, connected with them, and then they are going to a better place at their own spiritual level.
Thanks. Rosella, do you have any advice for palliative care practitioners, non-Indigenous palliative care practitioners, how we can ask the questions around ancestors and bring that into the holistic palliative care that we're providing to Indigenous peoples?
The only thing I can say is that, yes, we acknowledge our ancestors. And when we speak to the adults or the older people, we talk about the ancestors, people who have gone ahead of us. They've been called home, and they are there to, they are there. They're coming. They're coming to assist you to go to they'll take you to the Creator, and so this is what we tell them, and I think that's important because they will see the ancestors. I say see. It's not an illusion. It's not hallucination. Okay, they will see. We may not see them, but they will see, which means that their time of death is very close. The closer that the ancestors come, the closer it is their time to leave, because they're there and they're going to help them to go to return to the spirit world and to the Creator.
Thank you. Dr. Sakaya, if you'd like to make a remark, and then I'm going to invite, if there's any questions you want to ask of each other, we have about 5 minutes for that, but I'll let you speak first.
I have something to add. To us, ancestors is not an illusion. It's not theoretical. Ancestors, we interact with them. They come, possess somebody, and verbalize and talk and advise us on what to do. So it's not an illusion. It's not a thinking that we think about them. So the ancestors, it could be my grandparent, will come and possess somebody within the family. Then we interact with them. We ask about the patient and what it means, what the suffering means. So there is a dialogue with the ancestors themselves. And also they give us the therapeutic approaches we might give. So if the ancestor came in and said, okay, pick this plant and this plant and this plant and give to the patient, and also the patient has the audacity to look to hear what the ancestors are saying. So ancestry is real to us. It's comforting, and it prepares us, both the patient and the therapists.
Great, thank you. And so we should be encouraged to ask questions about how to invite the ancestors into the conversations that we're having with the people we care for. That's what I'm understanding, that it would be normal to ask that.
Yes. Now, in our case, yes, you can ask them, but at times they come without you asking them.
Right.
Yes.
And sometimes
Wonderful.
they will not share that information with you because you might think they're hallucinating.
Right. Yeah.
You know, so they until they trust you when you're going to ask the question or to be of assistance, then they have to have that trust before they will release that kind of information.
Right. Yeah. Very key. Thank you.
Yeah. I've come across some patients, like at the end of their days, they say that their grandparents have come, their relatives already passed away, have come to take him. And it's not a sort of hallucination or imagining, but then something which we cannot explain. Things are happening to the patient at the end of their days. That's what we come across.
Thank you. Is there a burning question you have for another member of the panelist? We have a couple of minutes for that before we wrap up.
I don't have a question. I just want to say about, the traditional medicines. We have a young man who's learned about the medicines and makes all kinds of medicines. And he has been the one to approach the hospitals to talk to the people who are looking after the dying, in palliative care, and explain to them what medicines are compatible with the Western type of medicine, what they can take and what they cannot take. So I think that's good, and the hospital has accepted that. And I know if you're in the hospital and you bring your own traditional medicine, we did work on a policy that they will take your medicine and you can take it while you're in there.
Thanks, Rosella. Obang, any closing remarks or a question for another panelist?
No questions.
Any words of wisdom you want to leave us with?
Yeah, for me, I have some. Okay.
I'll let Obang speak first and then I'll come to you,
Yeah.
Dr. Sakaya.
And in palliative care, the spiritual aspect is very important. And we have to explore this spiritual aspect from each and every patient, because this spiritual is a very important part of a person, in a person who is seriously ill, because not only the physical, but then when a person is really sick, then his thinking, his will is in a different way of, taking his life, taking care of his life. Not only the physical, but also the spiritual aspect become very important.
Thank you. And Dr. Sakaya, will end with you. Do you have any closing remarks or question you would like to ask one of the other panelists?
Mine goes to policy, relating to policy, because traditional medicine is reduced to herbal medicine, where we are using the phytochemical compounds of the plant to address biological diseases of biological origin. But plants have spiritual, they have spirit, they have soul. So we are using the spiritual and soul aspects of the plant to manage the spiritual and soul aspects of a human being. Those aspects cannot be are not well articulated in policies, so at national and international levels. So my concern is that let spirituality be within the plant and the healing be conceptualized beyond herbal medicine, where we are looking at herbal medicine because of their phytochemical compounds. In spirituality, we are looking at plants because of their spiritual aspects, non-pharmacological aspects that have therapeutic values. Those aspects are not well articulated in any policy in Africa. So my argument is that policy should articulate spirituality of the plants or traditional medicine beyond herbal medicine. Thank you very much.
Thank you. There's so much rich diversity in cultures and traditional practices that we can learn from. And I feel like we just scratched the surface today, but I hope it's given us all some pause for thought about the importance of traditional practices and bringing those in, the real importance of developing trust in our relationships so that we can truly know how to best serve each person and bring in what's important to them. And I heard that loud and clear, Rosella, that we can't really do this and provide holistic palliative care until we really ensure that that person knows that they matter and that their ways of being in the world and ways of healing are going to be integrated into the approaches that we take. And so lots of humble learning for us today. Thank you so much. I'm going to hand it back to Rick now to wrap us up and have a closing prayer. Thank you.
Well, great. And thank you, Leonie, so much. Thank you to all of our panelists. This has been so exciting. I just want to add a couple things. I'd encourage everyone to look at that WHA resolution from 2014. It's an international document that most of your countries have signed on to and agreed to, and defines those four domains of palliative care as the bio, psycho, social, spiritual domains. And they committed to assessing and treating all domains. So that's often a start for our advocacy work. And I also agree, and I'd love to have maybe another webinar. We do have some international definitions that we're struggling with on spirituality, religion, what's similar, what's different, comparing and contrasting. So I encourage you can use this as a screenshot to access the IAHPC organization to join. You can join the IHPC and get lots of resources. There is a cost to that. You can also sign up for just the free communications from IHPC. And if you'd like to be a part of our Interfaith Palliative Care Advocacy Network, we are always, the tent is very big and we welcome everyone. So I thank you. And if we can just pause now and open our hearts, open our souls to gratefulness. Open our hearts to the spirit of life. O holy Creator, you are our support, and you are always with us. Listen to our prayers for all working in palliative care who every day care for those who are suffering and in need of compassion and hope. Give strength and courage to caregivers to be instruments of everlasting love. Support all of those in need of protection. Creator, bless this time today, and may this time be a blessing for ourselves and others. O Creator, may your presence be in all that we do. Renew in us awareness of your sustaining love that touches us each day, opening the eyes of our hearts to see that you, Holy Creator, touch the world through the work of our hands. May it be so. Amen.